What if I told you that the very first cities designed with a religious vision of cosmic order weren't Christian, weren't Islamic, weren't even Buddhist, but Zoroastrian? That's right. Long before Rome had its basilicas or Mecca had its Kaaba, the Persian empires were building cities where fire burned eternally, where architecture aligned with the stars, and where the very streets were seen as weapons in the battle between good and evil. This is the forgotten story of Zoroastrian cities, from the sacred fire temples of ancient Persia to the cosmic palaces of Persepolis, to the quiet survival of Yazd, and even the bustling neighborhoods of Mumbai's Parsis today. And trust me, once you see cities through the eyes of the Zoroastrianism, you will never look at order versus chaos in urban planning the same way again. Zoroastrianism is often introduced in history books as a minor religion, a side note between Babylon and Christianity, but that's misleading. This was the state religion of Achaemenid and Sassanian empires, superpowers that spanned from Egypt to India. It shaped the worldviews of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, and crucially for us, it left behind a template for how religion could shape the city. When you walk through Persepolis, or look up at the skyline of Yazd, or even stroll through Mumbai's Parsi neighborhoods, you are stepping into an urbanism defined not just politics or economics, but by theology. A theology of cosmic struggle, purity, and sacred fire. And while Zoroastrianism is small today, its fingerprints are everywhere. Heaven and hell? That's Zoroastrian. Angels and demons? Zoroastrian. The idea of an ultimate judgment at the end of time? Straight out of Zoroastrian eschatology. So if we're tracing the history of religious cities, starting with Zoroastrianism isn't just fair, it's essential. First, a quick refresher. Zoroaster or Zarathustra was a prophet who lived somewhere between 1800 and 1200 BCE. Scholars argue about dates, but we can safely place him in ancient Persia before the rise of the great empires. His central teaching was simple but radical. The universe is a battleground between two forces, Ahura Mazda, the wise lord of truth and light, and Angra Mainyu, the destructive spirit of lies and chaos. Now here's the urban design kicker. If the whole world is a cosmic battlefield, then every city, every neighborhood, even every household becomes a front line. Cities aren't neutral, they're instruments of cosmic order. To live in a Zoroastrian city was to participate in this divine struggle. Keeping the city clean, aligning temples to the stars, managing water carefully. These weren't just practical concerns, they were spiritual acts. Imagine your local zoning board today telling you, sorry, we can't approve that apartment complex. It tips the balance toward cosmic chaos. That was basically how Zoroastrian planning logic worked. Let's start with Pasargadae, the first capital of Cyrus the Great, founder of the Achaemenid Empire. Built around 546 BCE, Pasargadae wasn't just a political capital. It was a city infused with Zoroastrian cosmology. The palace layout combined Persian, Mesopotamian, and local styles. But its gardens, oh, the gardens were revolutionary. This was the birthplace of the Chaharbagh or four-part garden, divided by water channels into a cross shape. Why four? Because Zoroastrian cosmology divided the world into four sacred elements: water, earth, fire, and air. The garden wasn't just pretty landscaping, it was a microcosm of the universe. Cyrus's tomb itself was designed as a sacred mountain, echoing the Zoroastrian reverence for high places and cosmic access points. Pasargadae tells us a key lesson. Zoroastrian cities didn't just have temples, the entire landscape was a theological statement. Now we move to Persepolis, built by Darius I and Xerxes in the 1st century BCE. Persepolis is often described as a palace complex, but I want us to think of it as a sacred city, the ceremonial capital of an empire infused with Zoroastrian order. Its terraces were built on an artificial platform, symbolizing a city literally elevated above the mundane world. The grand staircases depicted envoys from across the empire bringing tributes, a visual theology of order where all nations bow to Ahura Mazda's chosen king. Archaeologists believe fire altars stood at the heart of ceremonial spaces, keeping the eternal flame alive. Here's the thing, Persepolis wasn't functional urbanism like Athens or Babylon. It wasn't where you lived your everyday life. It was where cosmic order was staged in architectural form. If Babylon was a marketplace city, Persepolis was a sermon made of stone. And when Alexander the Great burned it down in 330 BCE, that wasn't just military conquest. It was symbolic, chaos triumphing over order, at least for a moment. Let's zoom in on fire, the heart of Zoroastrian ritual. Every Zoroastrian city needed its fire temple, called an Pasargadae. These weren't like massive cathedrals. They were often modest halls with a sanctum where the sacred fire burned eternally. But the principle was profound. Fire was the visible presence of truth. It couldn't be polluted, couldn't be extinguished. To keep the fire alive was to keep the city aligned with cosmic order. And it wasn't just temples. The entire landscape became a ritual grid. Mountains were sacred, the meeting point between earth and sky. Water was carefully managed through canals, underground channels that delivered purity to cities. Polluting water wasn't just unhealthy, it was a sin. Burial grounds were placed outside cities, often on raised platforms called dakhmas or Tower of Silence. Why? Because earth had to remain pure. The dead, seen as polluting, were left to the sky and sun. So imagine walking through a Zoroastrian city, at its center an eternal flame. Around it, carefully managed water channels. At its edges, towers where the dead were exposed to birds. That wasn't random, that was a theology of purity mapped onto urban space. Fast forward to the Sassanian Empire, 3rd or 7th century CE, and we see Zoroastrian urbanism at its height. Cities like Ctesiphon and Firuzabad weren't just capitals, they were cosmic diagrams. Firuzabad, for example, was laid out as a perfect circle with 4 gates aligned to the cardinal directions. At the center, a fire temple. Circle cities weren't just about defense, they were about cosmology. The city as a reflection of the heavens, a mandala of order. Ctesiphon with its massive vaulted hall, the Taga Castle, was both political theater and cosmic stage, where the king ruled as Ahura Mazda's earthly representative. Urban design here wasn't pragmatic, it was liturgy. Streets, gates, walls, all were ceremonies about truth, order, and the eternal struggle against chaos. By the way, if you're enjoying this deep dive into how religion shaped our cities, don't forget to subscribe. We've got whole episodes coming on Christian cities, Islamic cities, Buddhist cities, and more. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Now, here's the wild part. Zoroastrian cities didn't just stay in Persia, their ideas spread. Jews exiled in Babylon during the Persian Empire absorbed Zoroastrian ideas, heaven and hell, angels and demons, even the coming of Messiah. When Jerusalem was rebuilt, some of this cosmology influenced its design. Early Christians inherited this dualism too. The imagery of light versus darkness, purity versus pollution. Heavenly Jerusalem, echoes of Zoroastrian thought. Islamic urbanism borrowed heavily from Persian traditions. The Chaharbagh garden, the emphasis on clean water, even the placement of tombs outside city cores. In other words, when you walk through a medieval Christian or Islamic city, you're still seeing traces of Zoroastrian urban DNA. After the Islamic conquest of Persia in the 7th century, Zoroastrianism declined. Many fire temples were converted to mosques, others were abandoned. But in some places it survived, most famously Yazd in central Iran. Yazd is often called the city of Zoroastrians. Its skyline is marked by wind catchers, mud brick walls, and fire temples still burning. Here, rituals continued quietly under Islamic rule, and the city became a living fossil of Zoroastrian urbanism. Walking through Yazd today is like walking through layers of history. Islamic mosques alongside ancient fire altars, canals still channeling water, and the eternal flame burning in Atash-e-Bahram temples. But the story doesn't end in Iran. When persecution grew, many Zoroastrians fled to India. In Gujarat and later Mumbai, These exiles became known as Parsis, and they didn't just bring their rituals, they brought their urbanism. In Mumbai, Parsis built fire temples, Tower of Silence on Malabar Hill, and entire neighborhoods marked by their distinct identity. They became industrialists, philanthropists, city builders, from the Tata family to countless others. In fact, some of Mumbai's most iconic modern institutions were founded by Parsis. So while Zoroastrianism shrank in numbers, its urban impact expanded from the circle cities of the Sassanians to the skyscraper skyline of Mumbai. The flame kept burning. So what can we distill from all this? Zoroastrian cities were built around a few core principles. 1. Cosmic order. Cities mirrored the heavens, aligning to cardinal points and sacred geometry. Second, purity. Fire, water, and earth had to be kept pure. This shaped everything from burial practices to Qanat systems. Third, central flame. The fire temple was the anchor of urban life. Fourth, circularity and unity. Circle cities embodied divine perfection. Fifth, integration of landscape. Mountains, gardens, and water weren't just background, they were sacred actors. These principles may sound ancient, but they resonate with modern ideas of sustainability, symbolism, and resilience. Here's the kicker. We still wrestle with the same issues. Order versus chaos. That's zoning laws versus informal settlements. Purity versus pollution. That's climate change and clean water. Sacred landscapes. That's green infrastructure and urban parks. We may not build fire temples anymore, but when we argue about city grids or sustainable gardens or the rule of monuments, we're echoing questions first asked in Zoroastrian Persia. So next time you walk through a city, look for the flame. Maybe it's a park, maybe it's a civic square, maybe it's even a neon sign. But the idea that cities embody cosmic values, that started with Zoroaster. Zoroastrianism may be small today, but its cities were once the stage for empires. Its rituals still shape neighborhoods, and its principles echo in religions that dominate the globe. From Persepolis to Yazd to Mumbai, the sacred flame of urbanism never really went out. And that's why if we want to understand how religion really shapes cities, we have to start here, with the fire, the order, and the first sacred urbanism.